getting harder and harder to know she's nearing the end. She doesn't talk about it much. I know it's because she doesn't want to hurt me, but we're both aware of the situation, so we're just making the best of our time together. I'm also not being completely transparent with her about all the drama at home, but honestly, I don't think she needs to hear all of that. We did end up having the surprise celebration of life I had planned. A lot more people showed up than I expected, but they all got an Airbnb near the hospital where Jane is staying. We were able to take her out and spend some time at the lake near the facility. It was super low-key, which I know Jane preferred, and I even managed to get her old college friend to come after finding him on LinkedIn, lol. We had food, there was music, and we played games. Overall, it was a really great time, except Jane started crying at the end, but she promised it was just because she was grateful. My brothers are doing okay. My aunt, Jane's sister, is currently paying for them to go to therapy, and they've become a lot more open about discussing the situation. They just turned 13, but a lot of the time, it feels like I'm talking to actual adults, lol. They become really independent lately, in a good way, and aside from driving them places, I don't really have to do much for them anymore. Their grades aren't amazing, but they're not failing, and considering the circumstances, it could be a lot worse. They still hang out with friends, and I'm keeping an eye out for signs of depression or anything like that. The situation with my mom is as funny as it is embarrassing, to be honest. She spent a few weeks ignoring us, and then she tried to crawl back into my life, basically begging me to let her move in because her lease is about to expire and she has nowhere to go. That conversation went about as well as you'd think, and she ended up calling me an ungrateful BTCH, saying I couldn't just ignore her because she's my mom. I told her to get out of the house before I called the cops and to go back to my dad, who, at that point, was only coming home every few days to check on us and grab some clothes. After that, she tried coming by a few times, and when I wouldn't open the door, she'd lose her mind and start yelling in the neighborhood. After 3 instances of this, I finally called the cops. However, because I'm 17, they said there was a possibility I have to go home with her since technically I'm a minor and need to be with a custodial parent. I told them there was no way that was happening because I was the only one watching my brothers at the time. That led to a whole thing where, after a few hours, my dad showed up, and I was allowed to stay at Jane's house because there was finally an adult present, and I'd basically been living there for over a year. After that, the cops firmly told my mom that if she kept showing up and causing drama, my neighbors confirmed she'd been there a few times, screaming, they'd arrest her for trespassing since technically it's Jane's house, not hers. She left and hasn't tried coming to the house again, but for a while, she would call me constantly, telling me I owed her and saying all kinds of stuff. She's now blocked on everything, and anything she needs to say to me goes through my dad. As for my dad, well, since he's basically required to stay here